Hello and welcome to It's All Kicking Off, another football discussion roundtable podcast. I'm Adam Wilbourn from What Culture Football, joined by Adam Clery and Benjamin Richardson from What Culture Football to discuss another burning football issue. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Football on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from, for a daily football podcast. But we are here to discuss one of the biggest swap deals.
Wait. Got a lot of colour in your face. Was that wedding yesterday all outdoors?
Yes.
You look great.
You look pink.
Yeah, but you don't look burned.
Ruddy.
Sorry about that.
I just go freckly and then inevitably burnt.
Ruddy is the word I'd use to describe you at this point
indeed.
in time.
Sorry, what were we talking about?
We are here to discuss one of the biggest swap deals in football history. Paulo Dybala and Romelu Lukaku going opposite directions between Juventus and Manchester United.
And it's possibly even bigger than that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, but the latest rumour suggests that in lieu of paying $6 million up front from Man United, they'll add in Mario Mandzukic on that deal.
What?
Yeah, so Juventus getting rid of all their strikers.
Wow.
As they put full trust in Gonzalo Higuain.
Okay.
No pressure there then.
Okay.
So I've been away for a couple of days. I realise this has been sort of bubbling around recently. What do you make of this transfer?
Well, I just want to let everybody know that when you came in today, I was like, they want us to do a bit on the Dybala Lukaku thing. That's not going to happen, is it? I was like, oh no, it's pretty much has happened. Yeah. It's a bit of an odd one, given that I don't really get who brought this up at first, which side approached the other one with this potential deal, because it's a bit of a strange one. And obviously, there was all this talk about Lukaku going to Inter, I think it was, but I don't know if he had his heart set on Italy.
The deal hinges on the Lukaku move. So basically, what's been happening, Inter have had enough of Mauro Icardi, and particularly his wife/agent Wanda Icardi. So
Icardi's agent's his wife.
Yes,
who's also Maxi's ex-wife.
Yeah, Maxi
Lopez's
ex-wife. Yes, that history could take up an entire pod in its own.
Didn't Icardi get a tattoo of Maxi Lopez's kid?
Indeed, he did.
We should do one just on that.
That's why Icardi doesn't play for Argentina.
Famously, when the two met in a match between Sampdoria and I think it was Inter, Maxi Lopez demanded he take a penalty so he could rub it in Mauro Icardi's face, and then he missed. But with Mauro Icardi looking certain to leave at some point. Antonio Conte obviously needs a replacement, and he has his heart set on Romelu Lukaku, who I don't know why necessarily. I think he assumes he'd be a good fit alongside Lautaro Martinez. However, they are unwilling to meet Man United's valuation. But so now it's assumed that Juventus are going in for Lukaku on the basis that Vinoy's available, and basically just to wind up Antonio Conte. So I don't know if...
Just the old Mourinho-Chelsea strategy, just basically find out who Man United are interested in. Oh, you want Robin, Mikel and Ballack, do you? Well, I think you'll find there are top targets this summer.
It's even more petty than that. It's basically Juventus fans are very unhappy with Antonio Conte for joining Inter, so let's take his top transfer target. Yeah,
I personally think Lukaku would do incredibly well.
I think he'd be excellent in Serie A.
Who's getting the best of this deal?
Oh, Juventus by a mile.
I'm not sure. Thing with Dybala, the reports coming out of Italy suggest that as soon as he heard Juventus were talking to Man United, he immediately demanded to have talks. So it's Juventus pushing him out the door rather than Man United trying to sign him. I would be very surprised if Ed Woodward even knows who he is.
Yes.
He scored past Man United last season, so I like this Dybala. That'll be the extent of his knowledge.
It's an old thing in football, isn't it? Simply signing players who played well against you. Remember Ollie Bernard at Newcastle basically got a transfer to Rangers purely off the back that he scored the one good goal ever in a friendly against them.
Middlesbrough, for everyone who follows Middlesbrough closely, maybe they don't know. But Emmanuel Pogatetz, after he had a good performance again for Graz or AK, I think, in the Europa League. But
nice offloaded too.
It seems a silly question, this, because it's Paulo Dybala. But how good is Paulo Dybala?
Well, I should point out this is why we've got Benjamin on here, because you know a lot more. I mean, basically the consensus, I've heard him, he plays for Argentina. He's like an 87 on FIFA or something. One of Europe's deadliest hitmen. But the truth of the matter is he's underwhelmed the last year, at least, hasn't he?
Okay.
I'll pass over to our resident Serie A expert.
Paulo Dybala is an excellent player. He's got fantastic technical ability, great at free kicks, excellent close control. He's quite lightweight, so I think that would work against him in the Premier League. But he really struggles with attitude and form and his mentality, basically. Since Ronaldo's arrival, he's lost his place in the team. He was expecting to play as part of a two-man system.
Yeah,
a three-man system with Douglas Costa on one side and him on the other and Ronaldo in the front, but that hasn't happened, and he's found himself on the bench. And his performance has dropped completely as a consequence. He scored
an attitude thing, basically.
Attitude completely, yeah. He scored 10 goals last season, which wasn't enough. Admittedly got 5 in 9 in Europe, but not really key goals. He went completely missing in the Atletico Madrid round of 16 match. Ronaldo scored a hat-trick and completely usurped him. He didn't have any involvement in the Ajax debacle. And it's a similar story in Argentina as well, where he can't work alongside Messi. He needs to be the focus.
God, that must be tough. There can't be many players who've like played alongside Ronaldo
Messi
at
and
club
Ronaldo,
level and
yeah.
then gone played, and not even just like in the same team, like sort of the same positions, having to accommodate them.
All I can think of is Tevez. That's literally it.
Yeah, very briefly.
Yeah.
That's a. Oh, I mean, your heart goes out with them to an extent, don't you?
Gonzalo Higuain.
Oh,
Played
yeah.
with both, and he managed perfectly well.
Higuain's not exactly someone you would go, well, he's got that sort of Ronaldo energy or that Messi ability, Gonzalo Higuain, would you?
Yeah, how good do you think he could be in the Premier League?
I remember him breaking into this on the scene originally, and he looked like being, Serie A's next great hope, Juventus' next great hope, someone who could, if they could find a way to work with Messi, could really bring something to the Argentina team. But again, as you say, like Ronaldo coming in, you don't hear as much about it. But somebody who very casually watches Serie A at best, once the names start dropping off, it's because they're not really doing a whole lot over there. I think the Lukaku side of this is if anything, more interesting because there seems to be a talk already of like, oh, Lukaku revisionism, like he was never actually that good at Man United.
You know what? He's 42 goals in 96 games.
Well, that's the thing. Like his record, like Lukaku, if he stayed in the Premier League, his career would break Shearer's record comfortably. The guy was getting 20 odd goals a season from being 17, 18 onwards.
Lukaku's problem is that Jose Mourinho viewed him as a completely different type of striker to the one he actually is. Now Mourinho has a habit of bulking up his strikers and making them a big, powerful target man, and that's just not what Lukaku is.
See, you say that, but
despite
like
his height,
again, if you just go purely off the stats, I think something like I did look this up. It's like it's over a quarter of Lukaku's entire goal haul for Man United, all competitions, is in his first 2 months.
Yep.
So when he first came in, they clearly built the side around it. Might not necessarily have suited him precisely, but they did at least want to play to his strengths. And he was deadly that first half a season at least at Man United. But obviously, Mourinho completely lost the plot, had no idea what to do with him. Solskjaer came in, he was kind of in and out the team a bit. Did do all right when he was in the team, but he had him playing on the wing at some point, and it was sort of a bit all over the shop. And there is talk that what Solskjaer wants to do this year is he wants to have 3 attacking midfielders behind a striker, all of whom can interchange. So you could have, you could be on the left, you could be on the right, you could be in the centre.
This is how Allegri played with Dybala before Ronaldo arrived. Basically, at the end of he was getting a lot of criticism about the style of his football 2 seasons back. So he thought, you know what, I'll just play all my attacking players at once, like all together. And it was really fluid and really exciting. And then because they were so desperate to win the Champions League, and they also wanted to really increase the brand internationally, they went and spent so much money on Ronaldo. And you pretty much have to support that project now. And I think Dybala's just the collateral damage. I think Juventus hedging the bets on a 34-year-old going forwards is very unwise.
Yes.
As we're going to see as well, getting rid of all the strikers. So I think whoever gets Dybala comes out of this deal better, ultimately, simply because of the potential he has going forward.
It's a weird one. I mean, if Inter get Lukaku, I think they have done better than anybody could have done in this deal. But I think if you say that's how Allegri played and it worked with Dybala there, I mean, it's not as if he's going to go there and Alexis Sanchez is going to be, the main man or anything like that. He would be their big summer signing. He would be their great hope for this season. So
unless
in a system that suits him.
By Sergei Milinkovic.
Just before we get onto that, let's say, for argument's sake,
Not the most insightful talk we've ever had on this podcast.
Unquestionably.
I felt really weird.
Let's say Man United lose Paul Pogba and Romelu Lukaku this summer, but they get in, let's just say for argument's sake, Paulo Dybala and Mario Mandzukic. Is that an improvement for them?
For them, yes.
They've strengthened a particular area of the side while severely weakening another, I'd say.
It's a multi-layered question because I personally think Paul Pogba is one of the best midfielders in football.
I fully agree.
I just don't think it's working at Manchester United, and I can't necessarily put my finger on it. It was easy at point to Jose Mourinho before, but he left and the problems continued.
I don't know. That second half of that season, he
had a
right.
slight,
He was
he
really
did have an
instrumental.
improvement, but then he dropped off again in the last month or two when Man United, on a whole, collapsed.
A lot of people say Graham Souness is the man I think of. It's his attitude, 100%. But you can almost get that sense of frustration of he may not necessarily always track back and stick with his men or whatever.
That's
that's
not
not
his
his
fault.
game.
No,
but he almost also must look a little bit around and be like, I'm the focal point of this team. And, yes, you've got your Lingards and your Rashfords and your Lukakus, but no one's on his level.
Do you know what made Pogba so effective at Juventus? It was that the midfield was built around his particular strengths. He had Arturo Vidal stood behind him, and he had Andrea Pirlo just to the right of him. Now, Man United had none of that. They were basically expecting to parachute Paul Pogba into midfield, 90 million quid, and say, right, do everything, make our team wonderful. And the rest of that midfield is abysmal. Like
you say that, but Scott McTominay's on the cover of PES 2020 this year. So
is he?
Yeah. I mean,
you weren't here for this. Yeah, we did a little guessing game in the office. Like, lads, there's 4 players: one from the Premier League, one from the Bundesliga, one from Serie A, and one from La Liga on the cover of PES. Have a guess. Messi. Yes, Messi. Well done. Trying to who was Serie A? I think it was. Can't remember who the Serie A player was, but it was Serge Gnabry from Bayern. Right. I was like, right, Premier League, off you go. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Give you a clue. Man United, Pogba, Rashford, Lukaku, Scott McTominay.
Was everyone else busy?
Scotty McSauce is on the cover of a game. So my question here is, if you've got Nemanja Matic on crutches behind Pogba and Scott McTominay, who is very much Andrea Pirlo in every way but name alone, why isn't it working for Pogba?
I mean, it's a fair question, isn't it? There's some who have suggested that Nemanja Matic perhaps isn't quite the same player as Arturo Vidal because he can barely move. And maybe Scott McTominay doesn't have the range of passing vision of
I already know
anyone.
There's going to be people watching this. That was the point I was making. They're not those same players.
So you mentioned earlier Milinkovic-Savic as a potential replacement or someone else they could bring in to complement that Man United side. The rumour is if they can sell Pogba to Real Madrid, who are obviously in this dire straits with their injury crisis, if they can sell Pogba to Real Madrid, then they'd have the finances arguably to sign Milinkovic-Savic. And they've also, I think today or the last few days, have been linked with Ivan Rakitic as well. Is that an improvement for them?
Yeah, yes.
Can I just clarify, what is Rakitic's current situation? Because I know he's already left Barcelona. He's not a free agent, though?
I don't actually know what his current situation is right now.
Because there's been all this talk of, it's hilarious because Rakitic is going to leave Barcelona the year they have Croatia's kit. Which is quite a strange one. Rakitic would be an absolutely sensational. I mean,
it'd be an excellent
you got to be wary about going down this route because I do remember last year hearing about how Fred was the man to unlock Pogba because his skill set suited.
The difference with Rakitic is that he's proven it at the top leagues and at the top level. I mean, he guided Croatia to a World Cup final. He's been involved in Champions League finals. Fred was an unknown quantity coming from Eastern Europe. So I think there's a big difference there.
I think Rakitic. Honestly, I would say Rakitic is anything a more important signing for them.
Yeah, Milinkovic-Savic less so. He didn't have the best season last year coming off a World Cup.
Because there was a lot of discussion about him last summer.
Exactly, he was trying to force the move away and he didn't get it, and he sort of dropped off in form. And it felt like, well, Lazio have missed a trick, not selling him. However, he certainly has a potential. But again, he's more similar to Fred.
Yeah, I was going to say, what will he offer Man United if they can get him in?
A midfielder who can pass to his own teammates. That's certainly an improvement.
So, do you think this...
What was that laugh?
It's just very depressing.
Already put him in your fantasy league team, haven't you?
Yeah, he's already in, straight in. Do you think this transfer is possible then, the Dybala Lukaku one? Because it sounds like you say, it all hinges on Dybala choosing to go to a side that finished, sixth in the Premier League last season?
I think there's a genuine possibility we could finish this podcast and find out it's been done.
Yeah, it's absolutely possible. Like I said, the motivations for it might be spite, but I think both teams will get what they want out of it. So I think that's
I've got a lot of time for that energy, though. Like, if this ends up being one of the most, the biggest transfer in Europe this season is purely done out of spite, I've got a lot of time for that. That's the kind of sort of angle football's been missing for a long, long time.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned Juventus getting rid of literally everyone up front for them. We found out the news today that, I'm going to try and get this right, Moise Kean?
Moise Kean, yeah.
Not been practicing. Benjamin just wished me it before starting. The 19-year-old, he's linked with Everton for up to £36 million. He's been at Juventus since age 10.
Yep. He's joined Everton.
He's joined. So
done deal, mate. You've been at a wedding.
I've been away. So what is he going to offer, and just how good is he?
I can't necessarily wrap my head around this deal. It's 30 million euros, which is 29 million pounds, I think, which seems like absolute chump change for a player who has so much potential. So this will make all of us feel extraordinarily old, but he was the first player born in the 2000s to play in any of Europe's top 5 leagues.
Carry on.
I'll keep going. You'll get more depressing to play in the Champions League, to start for Italy, and to score for Italy.
Wow.
I'm over it.
Scored something like, I think, 7 goals last year in his debut season, something like 667 minutes of football. The transfer fee is what really gets me, though. That's the same fee as Leicester. I know you're a big fan, but £30 million for Jose Perez is ludicrous. 20 million for Danny Ings. Southampton paid 20 million for Tyrone Mings. All the Ings going for 20 million.
Sorry, I'm just allergic to Jose Perez hatred.
It's not hatred, but I don't know if he's necessarily the same value as a 19-year-old Italy international with the potential to be a future star. I think, unlike some of the teams in the Premier League, Juventus actually have to adhere to financial fair play. So this is, 30 million in pure profit, as you say, has been there since 10 years old. So, no fee. But I think also they've got a first refusal on potential buyback. But all the same, given they've getting rid of Dybala, getting rid of Moise Kean, potentially getting rid of Mandzukic, that leaves them with Higuain, who's in his 30s and a lot more corpulent than he used to be, and Cristiano Ronaldo. It's a worry.
I would suggest they might have to buy a player then.
Yeah, which could be Lukaku.
Yes.
But that still seems like they're a bit light.
It's about, I mean,
Not
being
physically.
light in certain positions on the pitch depends precisely on how you want to play. Like, I think
Of course,
if they've got no intention of having...
Well, it all depends on how Maurizio Sarri wants to change the team as well, which we don't necessarily know yet.
I expect he doesn't know either.
No. Could Kean be one of these wonder kids this season then? Could he be one of the ones to watch?
He could be, yeah. I mean, down to profile, he was compared to Mario Balotelli quite frequently in Italy, but those comparisons are actually fair from football perspective as well. He plays a different style of football, but he certainly has the same potential. I don't think he's going to be a breakout star like Messi or Ronaldo or Aguero, that level of wonder kid, but he certainly can offer something significant and tangible already at this young age.
So we're here, obviously, to discuss this huge swap deal. And I wanted to discuss some of the biggest swap deals in history, because I've sort of forgotten how many there's been. It always, in my mind, they only really take place on sort of Football Manager or things like that.
The thing is, we've already done, it was either me or you and me and Andy, right? Because there was another one, a big swap deal touted about a week and a half ago. I forget for the life of me who it was. But I sat there and went, do you know what it is? I hate this. Nothing puts me off a football transfer headline quicker than the word swap. Because it never happened, do they?
No.
Oh, we're going to swap so-and-so for so-and-so. They're going to use so-and-so as a make weight in the deal for so-and-so. Never, ever happens. Never, ever happens. And we're here sat now talking about
I fundamentally don't understand swap deals, because presumably it's both players saying, I want your player because they're great. So why don't you just keep the player?
I know.
But you strengthen the team that you're weak
To be fair, in this context, when we've talked about how both teams like to play, this one does make sense.
And
Dybala
across different leagues makes sense as well.
Yeah, arguably the most recent one that we would all remember is Mkhitaryan and Sanchez.
Oh, shit, that's the one I was going to do.
Well,
he's already got the good one.
I'll tee you up for that one, because did anyone get a good deal out of that one?
No, they both genuinely thought they were buying a player more suited to their style of play. I mean, Man United wanted a bigger name and a goal scorer, someone who could maybe drag them through matches. Arsenal clearly wanted somebody who would fit in with the system a bit better, could complement some of the other players they got. And go, you know what? Actually, not a bad deal. Mkhitaryan might be better suited to Arsenal. Sanchez definitely probably going to be better suited to Man United. And they were both absolute dog eggs.
And Mkhitaryan couldn't even play in the Europa League final.
I was going to say, yeah.
I can't believe that isn't more of a big deal. That is absolutely shocking.
It was scandalous, and UEFA should have either moved it or cancelled it, or
they shouldn't have put it in there in the first place, because it was a dreadful location. But anyway, Benjamin Richardson, which one sticks out for you?
I said before, it's the Andy Cole and Keith Gillespie swap. It's one of the most memorable.
I remember putting on Look North that very evening to see all the footage of people stood on the steps outside the entrance to St James's Park, shouting at Keegan, "What are you doing? He's our best player. We've got a plan, lads. We've got a plan. It's fine. It's part of the plan." Then we bought Les Ferdinand and Alan Shearer, so yeah, it was. Yeah. And Keith Gillespie, not a bad player.
Was Olivier Giroud involved in a swap deal?
Him and no. I don't think so. Anyway, I don't remember Chelsea sending anybody to Arsenal.
I can't.
It does feel like that. The Giroud thing kind of makes it feel like not the Giroud. Sorry, the Higuain thing felt like a swap deal because it was just so out of nowhere. But again, it wasn't.
There's some memorable ones, of course. Ibrahimovic for Eto'o and 35 million.
That's the best deal anyone's done in history.
That's far and away. And then obviously Inter went on to win the Champions League.
Ibrahimovic didn't have a good time at Barcelona.
No. I mean the other way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Eto'o at Inter was absolutely sensitive.
I think a lot of people misremember just how great that Inter side was.
But the Mourinho one that won the Champions League, they were so unfancied, and they've ground their way past the entire last 3 rounds of that.
Diego Milito as well, how significant he was alongside Samuel Eto'o.
I did this the other day, actually looked, I don't know why I was doing it, but I looked at that starting lineup for Inter in that final, and it's just astonishing. Like, Eto'o's practically playing right wing back in that system.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. However, if we didn't have that, then we wouldn't have got that phenomenal, well, not just chapter, but constant references to Pep Guardiola in Zlatan's autobiography,
Which, of course, you've read.
Oh, I've 100%
Of course you've read it.
100%, yes. I think he said, what did he say? If Mourinho lights up the room, Pep Guardiola closes the curtains. A few others to mention: Nemanja Matic and 20 million for David Luiz.
Is that right? I thought those transfers were separate.
Benfica and Chelsea, of course, there. And Roberto Carlos and £1 million for Ivan Zamorano. There's a name we haven't heard in a while. But
I love Ivan Zamorano.
Oh, here we go.
I'd have him.
Here we bloody go.
All the Chileans from the mid-90s.
Salas.
Marcelo Salas, yeah. Was it Zamorano who couldn't have the number 11 shirts? He had 1+1.
He couldn't have he couldn't have the number 10 shirt.
Okay, so he had 9+1.
He had 1+9, I think, in the end.
Derek Reardon at Hibs couldn't have the number 10 shirt, so he had 0-1.
Really?
That's the worst thing I've ever seen. 0-1.
He had play with a mirror next to
Just
him.
had 0-1.
The best.
So dumb.
But my favourite one, which I didn't actually know about, was between Crystal Palace and Greenwich Borough. And it was Ian Wright in exchange a swap deal for, quote, some weights.
To be fair, that's the kind of transfer you could see Mourinho going for at the minute, couldn't you?
Get him in a shirt with some weights on it. Right, let us know your favourite swap deals in history and your thoughts on this swap deal between Juventus and Man United.
Quickly, before we finish, how good is this lad Wolves have bought?
Patrick Cutrone, okay, he's okay. Basically, Milan are not in a position where they can reject an £18 million deal for a player who became a reserve. He's been completely displaced by Krzysztof Pionczak, and he's no longer playing, but he is good. He's good, but not brilliant.
Great. There you go. Thank you, Robert.
Very much. Right, let us know your thoughts on all that in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow us on Twitter at WhatCultureFC. In fact, watch there. Follow all 3 of us. You can follow Adam Clery at
Adam Clery, Clery. You
can follow Benjamin Richardson at
BAR3Pud.
You can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. You can follow us all at WhatCultureFC. And as I said, make sure you follow What Culture Football on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from for daily football podcasts. This has been It's All Kicking Off. My thanks to Adam Clery and to Benjamin Richardson. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.